Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
Eureka! Eureka! As an exclamation that I'm sure most of you listening today have heard. Eureka! Eureka! You know, that interjection it's used to celebrate the discovery or the invention by ancient Greek mathematician, physicist, engineer, inventor, and also astronomer, Archimedes. In physics, Archimedes' work is basically, he's probably best known for the Archimedes principle, or the Archimedes Eureka moment, some people call it. It basically states that when a body is put into liquid or immersed into liquid, it experiences an upward force of buoyancy, and the force is actually equal to the weight of the liquid that's displaced by the body or the object that's been immersed into the liquid. I know that's real. It's some major mathematical equation or somewhat, but it's funny. I remember actually learning about it first in my 6th grade physical science class, and I don't forget Miss Gatlin. She gave a story of the guy in the bathtub, and when he realized what was going on, how the displacement of the water was rising. The more he submerged himself into the bathtub, he allegedly went down the street running and screaming, "Eureka! Eureka!" But it was funny to me. I was 6 years. I was 10 years old, so it was funny to me. Imagine this guy running out naked in out of the bathtub, but just screaming some weird deal. Now today, 36 years later, that sounds pretty simple to me. Almost common sense. When you place something in a liquid, it's going to rise because of the liquid's being dispersed. That's, I say, basic physics, technically. It's interesting because I was thinking, like, okay, what am I going to write, or what I'm going to talk about this week on the show, Managing Self, and I started thinking about different things, and just different concepts. And it's funny because I was like, I got it. And when I said it, I thought Eureka, and my mind kind of went from here, there, and here, which often does. And I thought of actually, Eureka, Archimedes, displacement theory, physics, but also I'm like, that's also used in psychology. It's one of the 5, 6, 10. One of the many defense mechanisms that operate on our unconscious level. So we don't quite know why we perform some behavioral actions, but subconsciously we use defense mechanisms. I'm sure you all have heard of fight or flight, where if somebody's putting a gun to your head, you're either going to put your hands up, don't shoot, or you may just be brave enough to reach for the gun and proceed with a confrontation of some sort. That's a defense mechanism. As it displacement in regards to psychology, basically, I said Sigmund Freud, comes from the German word, means to shift or to move. It's an unconscious defense mechanism where the mind substitutes either a new aim or a new object for goals that they felt in the original form to be dangerous or acceptable. So, maybe, I guess this is the easiest way to do it. Okay, it's going to be kind of sort of related. Bear with me. It just came to me just now. The smoking. Smoking used to be super popular back in the 50s, 60s, etc. Now it's sort of looked down upon, smokers. So what they have now is that electronic cigarette smoke. People are vaping. Dude, I'm vaping. Basically, you're still getting the that chemical nicotine, which is addictive, and you know, they still I gotta get my nicotine fix, so I have to vape. Basically, they find something, a substitute to get that goal of, I don't know, their nicotine high or whatever it is that smokers get from that. So basically, taking something in original form or something that's unacceptable and trying to kind of get around that a different way. So that's what people do as far as displacement and psychology. Some of you may be familiar with just the fact that it's oftentimes the transference of emotions, shifting of ideas, shifting of wishes, things that people want. The wishes that, again, being most often used to mitigate that or deal with the anxiety in the face of, say, like I said, unacceptable situations, or the face of aggressive situations, and even sexual impulses. So again, that's psychology, displacement with physics, displacement with the mind, shall we say. Now, like I said, the physics part of displacement, I think it's kind of simple, but I'm not going to go into a deep deal of displacement as far as psychology, but, I encourage you guys, if you're interested, to maybe figure out either yourself or maybe someone you know, or not, I don't want to say figure out, but try to maybe empathize, be empathetic with maybe what someone else is going through, or maybe yourself. But there's several types of psychological displacements, displacements of object, displacement of attribution, and that's basically projecting characteristics of oneself onto another person. Makes it easier to deal with. Bodily displacements is another one, and that's often used in, let's say, sexual fetishes and things like that. So just briefly want to mention that. Now we got the, let's see, I've talked about displacement of physics, displacements of the mind, and I guess now it's time to tie it all in to the show, Managing Self. So without any further ado, I'll introduce myself formally, which I have failed to do thus far. My name is Dawn Melanie, and first and foremost, I want to thank you all for joining me today for this episode of Managing Self. Today, it's, March 5th, the first week of March 2019, and it's Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month. So today I want to recognize, I want to honor my multiple sclerosis awareness, and encourage you all out there to do as well. I use the term awareness because that's the name of the month, but I stress awareness because awareness is the quality, the state of being aware. And so I said, I want to honor that and celebrate mine, but expand upon it. If anything I can learn more, to be more aware, I want to. So I encourage you all to do, especially this month. It's our month, the month of orange, right? But basically, awareness, you're being aware of the situation, how good or bad it is, the knowledge. Knowledge is power. Knowledge and understanding that something is happening, that something even exists. I think it's Brian Woods. He actually said the body inherits what the body engages. The body inherits what the body inherits what the mind engages. Now, I read that somewhere and I was like, oh, it's interesting because, MS, I always talk about our body and how our body is reading signals wrong, the misconnection or the nerves, the damage on the myelin sheath causing the signals to be read wrong. So that's the causation of our symptoms. MS, I know me personally over the past 20 plus years, I've had MS has taken away or affected it's taken away my vision, my hearing, my balance, my speech, and even my ability to walk. So it's interesting that those physical things, remember I was talking about displacement as far as a shift or a change, it's like, okay, I have to be aware of how my body is reacting to things or being affected. I have to be aware of it so that I can address it with my healthcare providers and hopefully live a better life, a better existence with this debilitating disease. But the quote by Brian Woods, as far as the body inherits what the mind engages, that made me go, okay, that's kind of related to what I just spoke about previously with Sigmund Freud and the displacement theory. So, if you're engaging in something, or I don't know, habit or hobby or just something, it's going to become a part of you. And so, we talk about, it's like all these buzzwords that have been going around lately. Awareness, self-awareness, self-care, things like that, or mindfulness. Mindfulness is a very good one. I'd be like, I can like hashtag MS or hashtag mindful self, because so many times it's like that's the only way we can manage ourselves is to be mindful. We have to be mindful of our physical body. We got to be mindful of our mind, because it all starts in the brain. That's our powerhouse, our brain. So we have to be mindful of all these things: our brain, our bodies, and our thoughts. So this is how this whole talking of displacement ties into the show today, managing self. Like I said from the start, Eureka, I got it. If something is happening to me or affecting me, I want to be as informed as I can about it. I'm gonna be proactive. I'm not gonna wait around to my doctor's appointment in 7 weeks to talk to my doctor or send a note on the portal, because it's gonna be something probably answered by an assistant, not the doctor, who knows me personally. Personally, he does know me personally. Over he's 9 years or so with my current neurologist. But the point is, I'm going to take action to be my own self-advocate for my health. And you guys have heard me before, once, 2, 3 times. I've said it several times. I encourage you all to be your own self-advocate regarding your health. No one knows you like you. No one has walked in your shoes every step. They may have taken a similar route, but not the same route. They may have even taken the same route, but they don't know how you feel taking that route. Snowflake disease, here goes those buzzwords again. We're all different. MS affects everyone differently. It's true, and it's funny how some people they'll hear it and they really do fail to recognize that. People don't understand so much about MS, and that's why this month particularly, I want to encourage everybody listening to, learn as much and more as you can, because there's so many new medicines out there that we need to know our options. And when I say learn all the information, just don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your friends, share it with your loved ones, share it with a stranger. I know if somebody asks me about MS, I'm talking a long time. I say, hey, you open the door for me. So, again, that's kind of like I said, your body, your mind, all that. Be aware of it. Self-awareness is so important for your health. Now, there's one thing that I would like to displace all the time, and I guess it's all related to mind, body, emotions, all that kind of stuff, and that's stress. And also the way I perceive stress a lot of times, or I've learned that I think most people perceive stress. Their perception of stress is, man, I want to be stress-free. I always say there's no stress-free existence. We can only strive to have a stress-less existence. But, stress is oftentimes the result, like a flare-up, it's usually the result of a situation that triggers our physical body to, the hormones and all the behind the scenes actions that occur, all because of a stressful situation or the triggers. If we learn what those are, hopefully we can avoid them and not have to encounter them to help mitigate the potential exposure to such triggers and the correlating stress response. Now we all know that MS, multiple sclerosis, is a chronic illness, and there's other chronic illnesses out there, various types, different. But I always say the hardest part of MS is the hardest part of having MS is the unpredictability of it, the nature of not knowing when it may affect you, when it may not. Like I said, I know me personally with MS. I know heat, fatigue, those sort of things are triggers, so I shun away from them. But MS, multiple sclerosis, is a chronic illness, and unlike other chronic illnesses, there's let's say addictions. Those chronic illnesses, they have conditioned stimuli, which causes the behavior, and if identified, just like that stimuli was conditioned, it can very well be unconditioned. Unfortunately, for MS, we don't have that liberty, or at least not yet. Like I said, our nerves, it's all unpredictable. So it's interesting. Like I said, I look at the physics. I guess in law they call that de facto, like the facts, and de jure, what it looks like. Even though MS looks like things, that unpredictability of it makes it hard to understand, to manage, and to sometimes stay positive. But I encourage you all to, again, just be aware of that. Again, like I said, it's just interesting. I was considering, condition yourself to avoid those triggers or stimuli, but we can't uncondition ourselves, and we can try to avoid it, but that's all we can do. Whereas other people who have other chronic illnesses or addictions or what have you, they actually have the ability to. So, like going, man, it's funny, sometimes we feel so weak. I know sometimes I feel weak, like, okay, I can't do this, but I want everybody out there to know we're pretty strong. We are warriors, MS warriors. We're warriors because the things we do with the way we feel and the equipment that we have and the challenges that we face each day, we really are strong. And as I think of MS self-awareness, MS Awareness Month, week, what have you, I want to encourage everybody out there listening to realize that we are all mind strong, and it all starts with the mind. People say, "Huh, you're not that sick. It's all in your mind." Guess what? It is all in my mind, and I am mind strong. So become so mind strong. I don't appear sick to you because I don't want to. I want to be as strong as I can. So we're stronger than, I think, people with MS. We're actually stronger than the average Joe, because what we deal with mentally, or what we deal with physically, that's obvious, of course, with the naked eye. But what we deal with mentally, emotionally, that's not so visible to the naked eye, and that's why I said we're all mind strong. So I think we're probably stronger than the average Joe. As I close this week's show, I want to challenge each of you listening today to think about your time. I speak of self-awareness, but let's not wait till tomorrow to do something to promote that for ourselves, for everyone. Sharing is caring, and if you have some information that you know about that can benefit others, do share it. Don't sit on it and keep it into yourself. Sharing is caring. You may think you don't have any time to share something with someone. Everybody's on social media at some point of the day. A brief, whether you read it, maybe you see something, you take a screenshot and share it with someone. Again, a lot of times, even our closest family members or friends, they don't really know the limitations the challenges that MS presents to us. You know, you be here, you look fine. Wow, you don't look like you're sick. Well, thank you, but some days are not the same. Or you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be tired now. I mean, you usually have a good night's sleep. Yeah, but my body just it's like that old battery that just doesn't charge. So it doesn't matter sometimes. Oftentimes it doesn't matter. So it's hard to understand if you're not the one going through that. And sometimes, gosh, it's frustrating. I know for me because sometimes people think that you're lying. I remember before I was diagnosed, my best friend, she told me, "Oh, Dawn, stop complaining. You're just a hypochondriac." Okay, sure. Anyway, I was over 21 years ago. Well, I wasn't a hypochondriac, and I was just aware of the changes my body was undergoing, and I communicated those to her, to my physicians, etc. But, I didn't let that control me or put me in a place like, okay, maybe I am. No, I know me best, and I want what was best for me back then, and I damn sure want what's best for me now. So, I was a 24-year-old kid back then, and now I'm like the 46-year-old woman, and opinionated and very, well, let's just say, as my mama say, rarely do I hold my tongue. In other words, if I have an opinion, I'm going to let you know about it, or I'm not just going to take whatever for face value without examining or investigating the situation, weighing the pros and cons, qualitatively, quantitatively, analytical approach. I would definitely take against the issue, no doubt. But the time to do all that starts now, not tomorrow. It starts now. So, if you're feeling different right now, maybe you're more tired than usual, or your balance or your coordination has been noticeably compromised, take notes of that. Again, here I go to take notes, but I know as detailed of things I can remember from age 3. Every teacher I had from kindergarten through 12th grade, first and last name. I mean, I remember all of my teachers. Weird. My husband goes, "Well, you can remember all this stuff?" Yeah, I can. But it's amazing how I may forget the smallest, most minute detail. Why? Because that is something that MS does to a lot of people. So, again, everybody's not going to understand it. All we can hope is that they can be understanding, compassionate, and hopefully empathize with us. We just need them to be there for us. But first we got to be there for ourselves. Thus, we have to be aware of ourselves, self-awareness, all these self-things, self-care. Take care of yourself. Don't neglect your happiness ever. It seems like so us or me, but again, remember, I don't say this is your disease. I want to say this is your life. This is your reality. MS, my situation, multiple sclerosis, yada yada, myself, managed self, all of it, it's me. It doesn't define me, but I do have to deal with it. I do have to manage it. It does exist. And so I can't just say it doesn't exist and say, well, yeah, sometimes I have MS. No, all the time I have MS. I have to manage my MS. Every day I have to manage my MS. And like I said, some people don't understand. It can be, it can weigh heavily on our minds. Stress. It'll cause stress, which unfortunately is a precursor to a lot of illnesses. And it's also a precursor to every major exacerbation that I've had. Stress. So sometimes I'm so strong. My strength, MS, my strength. I'm so strong physically, most times mentally. But I tell you, stress can break you down, even the strongest of the individuals, and just wreak havoc upon you. I know. I've seen it so many times. And if you've heard any previous shows, you heard me more or less tell you how I was disappointed with myself because I allowed that. I allowed the 80%, pardon me, the 20% of what was happening to me affect 80% of how I felt, and that's not recommended. That's why I take action to manage myself. Try to stay healthy. Try to keep positive. I do that with working out on a regular basis. I do that with contacting, or shall I say, connecting with people on different levels. It's interesting when they find out that I do have MS. They're usually shocked, but I'm not ashamed of it. I'll tell them about it, and usually it's a great icebreaker. So during this month, March 2019, like I said, this is MS Awareness Month, and I encourage everybody listening to take some time to learn more about MS that you may not know. Read some stories. That's a great way to get connected, which I'm learning about more and more. Is there's so many people. I thought, thinking, wait, I'm so unique. I'm the only one who's done this. But you know what? There's so many people who have similar paths that they've gone through or are going through. And I'm like, well, I am unique, but I'm not that unique. And it's so funny, people of the same age range, people who've worked similar industries, people who have just a background. It's interesting to just read people's stories. I think it's a great way to learn about MS, what it is, what it isn't, and that great, ubiquitous, what it can be, what MS can be. Again, this is Dawn Melanie. I thank you for joining me this week, and I hope you'll join me next week. And in the meantime, I hope everyone out there has a very healthy, productive week, and anything they're dealing with MS goes smoothly. In other words, it doesn't put too many bumps in your road. But we're all MS warriors, so I'm confident we'll be fine. But again, just remember to be aware of yourself, your mind, your physical body, and everything that it affects, especially emotions, which, if you get stressed out, things may be bad. So hopefully MS will not stand for my stress. Hopefully MS will stand for my success, for me and for you. Again, this is Dawn Melanie. Thank you for listening.